Hey brother, welcome back. Thanks for being here. Today I want to talk to you about the importance of having boundaries for yourself. Specifically about how having boundaries helps to protect and care for yourself, and also how it helps to instill confidence and trust in the people around you. Specifically, I'm going to give you an example from my own life, something that happened just the other day, and hopefully that'll illustrate what I'm talking about. So when we have boundaries, it's not about controlling the other person. It's about knowing how we will handle ourselves when a situation arises. So if the classic example is that if you're in a conversation with someone and they're yelling at you, you respect yourself enough to not be yelled at. And that means that if you need to, you might have to remove yourself from a conversation if the other person becomes irate or elevated or basically just yelling at you. It's no longer a productive conversation. You're now just a punching bag or just an outlet for their rage. And you can decide that you're not going to be a part of that you're not going to stand there and allow them to treat you that way. So this is a matter of self-respect, self-trust, ownership of yourself. And so in those kind of situations, you can decide that I'm not going to be in a conversation with somebody who's going to yell at me. I'm happy to be in a conversation where somebody wants to have a productive talk and they want to do that in a manner that is non-abusive. So if I find myself in a conversation like that, I'm just going to say, you know what? When you calm down, I'll be happy to talk, but I'm not going to stand here and let you scream at me. And you can remove yourself from the conversation. And that's owning yourself. That's not controlling the other person. The other person can continue to be mad. The other person can continue to yell by themselves. But you don't have to participate in that. So yesterday I woke up excited about an idea, and I messaged a friend of mine and I said, hey, how about this idea? I think this would be great. And he sent me a message back and said, I don't have time to think about that right now. In fact, thinking about that right now kind of bothers me, and I don't want to lose focus of what I'm working on. So I don't want to think about that right now. I'd like to talk about it later. And I heard what he said, but I was still excited. I was still excited about the idea. And so I said, okay. And I think I even said one more thing, and then okay. And so the day went on. I left the conversation alone, and then the day went on, and I had another thought, and I sent a message. Right? We live in a sort of a time-shifted, on-demand sort of world these days, and so I didn't expect him to read it immediately, but I did know that he would read it eventually. And so I created a little screen recording video, and sent it to him, and knowing that he would watch it later. And that was me being excited about what I was being excited about. And then I didn't hear anything from him, and that was fine. I didn't expect a response, but just, as the timeline of the conversation, I'm telling you that I didn't hear anything from him. And so then at the end of the day, I got this message. I got an email that reminded me about my idea from earlier in the morning, and I was like, oh yeah, oh look at there. This is exactly what I'm talking about. And I forwarded that message to him, that email to him, and I was like, yeah, see right here. And he sent me a message back that was very clear, about his boundaries, very clear about what he wanted from me, what he wanted for himself, what he was working on, what he was focusing on, what he would and wouldn't do at this moment, what he would and wouldn't do at some point in time, and then invited me to pursue that idea if I was that excited about it, just go ahead and pursue it. Like, own it. Take ownership of self, and don't wait for anybody else, right? To go ahead and just be excited about it and lean into it, which was very loving and very encouraging and very empowering. And I thought the message, I really appreciated the message because it had boundaries in it, and it had clarity in it, it had ownership in it, and it had love and encouragement in it. And I had to recognize in that moment that my behavior, my excitement, right, my enthusiasm, was impacting someone else. That I was exhibiting a boyish behavior, a boyish energy, right? I was enthusiastic about this thing. I shared it with somebody. That's great. That can be endearing, that can be attractive, that kind of positive energy. But then also, at some point, I lost sight of the fact that this other person had already told me where they were and what they wanted and what they were doing. And I was so wrapped up in my own enthusiasm that I was like, yeah, and this, and look at this. Oh, you know, kind of like a boy would be if he were attracted to a girl, a school-age girl, right? Like when you were a schoolboy and she was a schoolgirl, and you're running around and you're sending her notes and you're picking on her and teasing her and all these things because you like her, right? And you're not really saying what you want to say, but you're kind of saying it through your behavior, and you're being all sort of, you know, bouncy at her, and that can be well received, but it can also be annoying. It can also be off-putting. It can also be just a boyish energy that does not listen, a boyish energy that does not take into consideration how he impacts somebody else. And so when I got that message, it bothered me because it bothered me that I had bothered my friend. It bothered me that I had behaved in a way that was less than respectful of what he had told me that he wanted. And I'm not a disrespectful person. I'm not a disregarding person. I'm not an unloving man. And so this went contrary to my values as a man. So it bothered me. And so I had to sit with it, and I had to recognize that I'm still okay, that even when you have feelings about something bothers you, you're still okay, right? And so I had to remind myself that I was still okay, but that this thing bothered me and that I wanted to sit with it. I wanted to understand it. I wanted to know the parts of it that were outside of me, and I wanted to know the parts of it that were inside of me. And I wanted to get clarity on what it was that bothered me. And part of what bothered me was that he was very clear and honest and direct with me, and that I had bothered him. That part bothered me because I don't want to do that to a friend. And the other part that bothered me was that he was right. I needed to own that idea, to be excited about it, certainly, but also to recognize that I don't need anyone else to participate in an idea to go forth, right? That it's great to share things with people, but when they say, I don't have time for that, or I'm not interested in that right now, or I don't want to talk about that, then that's it. Okay, got it. First time out of the gate, understand totally. I'm going to run with it. I'm going to take ownership of myself, and I'm going to move forward. And that's what we need to do. That's I guess a secondary moral to this video is that's what we need to do. We need to say to ourselves, I'm going hiking on Saturday morning. If you'd like to join me, meet me at the trailhead at 9 a.m. And that way, you know what you're doing, you know where you're going to be, you know what you're desiring, and then you leave it to the other person to decide to join you. And if they don't, you still go hiking. You still go ahead on your own. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pursue this idea. I'm excited about it, and I'm also appreciative of my friend who cared about himself enough to be clear about where he is and what he wants and what he's focused on and what he will and won't do. And also that he had enough love and care to encourage me to take ownership of this and go forward on my own. And that doesn't mean that he will never participate. It just means that right now he's got other things that he's focused on. And it was great to have that clarity, to know where he stands, to know where we are in our relationship as far as, to this topic, and also just to each other, to be able to hold each other in high positive regard and love each other enough, to love ourselves and each other enough to be able to be open and honest and clear. So that's what I have for you today, brother. Go out there and be open and honest and clear. And if you want to talk more about these types of topics, you want to get clarity for yourself about what it is that you think and that you feel and that you desire and that you want to do, then I want you to look down in the description. There's a link in there. It's a link to my calendar. You can pick a day and a time where we can set up a phone call and we can talk about what it is that you want for yourself and what boundaries maybe you need to set so that you can be clear with the people in your life. All right, that's what I have for you today. I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.